Hello there. It is good to see you guys. I got an interesting one today. As you can see, I'm just kind of sitting in the corner on the floor, and I just wanted to come and kind of chat about some things. So you can tell by the title that we're going to be talking about protein, and I have my laptop here, so I'm just looking down, and I got me some water. And this is gonna be just a real chill chat, like just a real chill chat, nothing too much. It's not meant to be like a stressful type of thing, but anyway. So tell me. Um, if you've ever worried that you're not getting enough protein on a plant-based diet or have been told that you need meat to stay strong, this video is for you. I used to think similar things about eating meat, that you needed it in your life, just needed to get enough protein. And now I want to share what I've learned, not just from some studies, but just from living this everyday life. So I want to first start off about talking to you guys about protein. Um, so when we talk about protein, I think a lot of people don't really understand what we're talking about. A lot of people, when they hear protein, what they hear is meat. They hear pig, cow, chicken, hen, duck, whatever. They hear animal products when they hear protein. But what you should be hearing is amino acids. So what you have to understand about nutrients is that yes, you get nutrients from things like plants, animals, things like that. You get nutrients from these things, but you're not looking for the thing for nutrients. You're looking for the nutrient themselves. And I think if you understand it in that way, allow you to wrap your head around the fact that yes, animals contain protein. However, on a plant-based diet, you don't necessarily need animals for protein. That what you're looking for are amino acids. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about what we're actually mean when we say protein. So when we talk about protein, what we're actually talking about are the amino acids. So what are amino acids? Amino acids are actually the building blocks of protein. So think of it as a chain reaction. As you link chains onto each other, each little circle, each little loop is an amino acid. And then they loop together like chains to create a protein. And then what those proteins do, they either stay long as a chain that's a one-dimensional, or they curl up into three-dimensional shapes and even four-dimensional shapes. That's when those three-dimensional shapes start to link onto each other as well. But they create these shapes and they fold and they wrap, and though the sequence of the amino acid and that folding and wrapping and shape that it takes is what determines what that protein does in the body. So they can either be a one-dimensional, just a long chain by itself, or it can take the three-dimensional shape where it folds into itself and creates these things, or it can be several of those 3D dimensionals into a 4D shape that stack up on each other. So that's what protein is. Protein are a group of amino acids that link together to develop a certain shape that has a function. That makes sense? So amino acids, our DNA actually encodes the amino acids that our body produces. So all amino acids are encoded using DNA. The amino acid sequences create polypeptides, and those are another word for proteins. And they send those proteins out to the rest of the body to do various tasks. So the majority of proteins are enzymes. Enzymes mean that they are catalysts. This means that they speed up chemical reactions in the body. So they help your body to do its functions better. So for instance, if you were trying to get more energy into the body, the proteins help certain nutrients pass through the cell membrane in order to do its function. So they're kind of like they help speed up things. Because if it didn't have enzymes or proteins, some of these chemical reactions would take so long to do that you would never even have enough energy or anything to really sustain life. Life would not be sustainable without proteins. So they are really essential to life. So it is important to get enough protein because protein is literally essential to life. But the thing about it, because protein is an essential part of life, that it literally is the driving force of life, it means that every living thing has protein, including plants. Plants have amino acids, they have protein linked chains, every little thing have it because they're used to create those chemical reactions and speed up those chemical reactions. So that's why you need to stop thinking of things of objects. Like when you think protein, I think meat, or when you think vitamin C, you think orange juice. You know, when you think when you think calcium, you think milk. They do these things on purpose because the association helps you to buy something. But when you understand you shouldn't be looking for orange juice, you should be looking for vitamin C, then you ask the question, well, where can I get vitamin C? What are the various ways that I can access vitamin C? Because there's more than one way. They sell you a way, they tell you about a way, but there's more than one way that you can access vitamin C. And that's the same for proteins and amino acids. So there are 9 essential amino acids and 11 non-essential amino acids. So essential just means that your body needs these amino acids in your diet. So if they're non-essential, your body actually creates these amino acids itself, and it doesn't necessarily need to consume these amino acids in the diet because the body makes them. The 9 essential ones, we need those, but we only get those from the things that we consume. And so those are what we're looking for when we eat. And so when they look at animal products for protein, the reason why they suggest animal products for protein is because animals contain all 9 essential amino acids. Is that a good thing or is it not? It depends. It depends on the drawbacks that it takes, or it depends on the benefits that it has. Is this the best source of a complete protein or not? And that's what you have to look for. So let's see. And I guess this goes back to the question of, well, do plants contain all 9 essential amino acids? And that is a good question. The answer is no and yes. So no. Plants in themselves may not contain all the amino acids. Like a single piece of broccoli contains amino acids, but it may not have all 9. That's same for an orange. It contains amino acids, but it may not have all 9. It may have 2, it may have 3, it may have 8, it may have 7. It might have some of the essential ones, but it may not have all, and it also has a few of the non-essential ones as well. So when I say the answer is yes, the answer is yes because these fruits and vegetables have a wide range or a variety of different amino acids, and we're not looking for necessarily the complete protein linked chain. We're looking for those individual amino acids. When you put together a plate of food that has, and you eat a lot of variety of food, a lot of variety of legumes, beans, fruits, vegetables, greens, grains, and you eat a variety of high quality foods, you're going to get enough amino acids. You're going to be able to access those 9 essential amino acids. And the body will put those chain links together itself. When you digest your food, it'll break it down into single raw materials, and then it will put them back together in the sequences that it needs. Okay? So you're kind of, I understand the fear around being protein deficient on a plant-based diet. However, the protein that we get from animals actually just comes from the food it eats. So cows, pigs, and chickens, which are the most common animals that we eat, all consume a plant-based diet. Therefore, we're simply just skipping the middleman and going right to the source. And again, all living things contain amino acids. Eating a wide range of fruits and vegetables ensures you'll get enough. And there are plenty of plants that contain or plenty of methods to get all amino acids in one sitting. So how much protein do you really need? So they recommend about 0.8 grams per kilogram per day for adults 18 years or older. However, I'm honestly against calorie counting, so I don't count protein. I don't count my macros. That's protein, fat, and carbs. Only because it's not necessarily, if you're eating a wide range of foods every day, you understand how to eat a variety of foods, you're going to hit your macros and you're going to get enough of everything. As long as you're eating a well-rounded diet, you should get enough. And also being plagued on, am I getting 0.8 grams? Like, how do you really know that? Because those things, even you can, like, one piece of broccoli could have a different arrangement or assortment of nutrients than another piece of broccoli. It's just an average that they give you based upon studying broccoli. They give you an average, but that does not mean that every piece of broccoli that you eat contains the same nutrient profile. And so that's something that you should consider. But also, you know, if you count macros, if it helps you, it helps you. But for me personally, I think it's something that could cause you to become discouraged and not, you know, and not understand. It can cause you to become discouraged, and it costs too much on your plate, and when you're already just trying to you know, do things. So with me personally, I used to be like a heavy meat eater. And that's not a bad thing. I grew up on animal products. I grew up, you know, the standard way that most Americans did. So my change and my shift was primarily due to just wanting to live a healthier lifestyle. I didn't have, like, you know, anything going on with me personally. I just was like, I want to eat a healthier lifestyle. And you would have thought that I would be the last person to give up animal products, like, seriously. But I honestly, it was just because, like I said, I felt like, you know, eating an animal wasn't worth potentially having heart disease one day or diabetes. And that's just my personal thing. Everybody has their other thing, but it wasn't worth it for me. But I used to be a heavy meat eater. I mean, there's a picture of me with a turkey leg about as big as my head at 9 years old, just eating the whole thing by itself. I used to love me a good bowl of chitlins at Thanksgiving, and anything meat lovers, like, give it all to me. And I did not discriminate. I was not a picky eater, so I ate everything. I would try anything at least once. So I wasn't very picky. So yeah, and I think the transition was, like I said, I just wanted a healthier, sustainable lifestyle, and I'm still like that. And I think the fact that I am so experimental and will eat pretty much anything, that it made this transition a lot easier for me, because I was able to experiment and expose myself to all these different fruits and vegetables that I didn't really know of before, because I ate like the standard American diet. So some things that people believe, and some misconceptions about protein is that, you know, plant protein is incomplete, and we kind of discussed that already. You know, yeah, in a sense, plant protein is incomplete, given that every plant doesn't have all amino acids. But again, the goal is to get those amino acids through a variety of things that we eat. Through everything that we eat, we get them in. And the more variety that we have, the better we can get those things in to our diet. And so protein is complete. Plant protein is complete. And it also says you can't get enough protein without supplements. And that's also not true. There's something called food pairing. And there are certain ways to pair foods to get complete proteins. One way would be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is a complete protein. It's a whole grain plus a nut butter creates a complete protein, meaning that it has all 9 essential amino acids. Rice and beans. So there are many different ways. In the same way you can do rice and beans, you can also do like tofu and spaghetti or something like that, beans. So like most of the time there are ways to get those complete proteins in. So And then also another one would just be like, you have to count the grams excessively. Like I said, calorie counting and counting your macros. And honestly, I would just go with, how you feel each day. I just try to eat a wide variety of foods, and I just go with how I feel each day. If I feel like something is off with me, I don't have enough energy or things like that, that's kind of how I move. I eat based upon more intuitive eating. And so I think that it's important to not get bogged down on the numbers, because again, those numbers can be inconsistent and they can just stress you out about it and cause unhealthy eating patterns, and just focus on eating to feel good and focusing on what makes your body feel is at its best. And it's so easy to feel overwhelmed or anxious about protein, especially with everything in our society and all the information that they throw at you. And it's just all the conflicting advice out there. So I would say just learn exactly what protein is. And then as you learn more and more what protein actually is, you'll learn, okay, it'll start to make more sense when you go and study the root versus just looking at all the information out there. Let's go with the root. If I'm confused about protein, let me study protein in itself. Let me study what is protein. Like, go back to the foundation, and I think that's what will make it stick and make it understandable for you. So, like I said, if you want to boost protein in your diet, beans, legumes are always great. Nuts and seeds. I like to add seeds to my smoothies and nuts into my smoothies. I do use protein powder. Utilizing protein powder, you can up it. So just anytime you want to up it, I always say add some nuts, add some beans, add some seeds. So this was great. I just don't want you to feel like protein has to be stressful. And I just don't want you to think that you have to eat like a bodybuilder, or eat like robotically. And I just want you to also be able to trust plants to fill your body. And I'm here to make this easier for you. So I hope this helps you rethink protein. And let me know in the comments if you're still unsure about something. Just ask me. I'll read every message that you post. So just ask me if you have about protein and any questions that you might have. So, all right. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.